Hello everyone, Altar of Wisdom speaking. Today we're reviewing the latest update of my multi-oscilloscope, the Max4Live device version 1.5. Let's get on to it. Alright then, to showcase that latest update, I've set up a small project. For those who already have the previous version, you know that Ableton has a weird issue with plugin delay compensation, which means that from a general standpoint, if you're using an oscilloscope or anything which acts as an oscilloscope, typically LFO tool, for example, you'll see that your oscilloscope is usually not in sync, provided that you have plugins which add some latency to the tracks, and it can be a bit annoying. I had the same issue in the first version, the previous version of the oscilloscope, so I had to work quite hard to figure out what was actually going on in live and what the reason was for this absence of synchronization. And I think I figured out a way. So there are, of course, two caveats. The first one is that the oscilloscope should not be set on the master channel, because the master channel, as of now, at least, haven't been able to understand what was going wrong, and so I can't sync the master channel with the rest of the tracks. And the second point is that instead of loading the oscilloscope on the track on which you want to monitor, you gotta add it as its audio channel, for example, or any free channel, and at least one channel which doesn't have any latency on it. So typically an empty channel will do. So here I have just an audio channel, and then you have something which can be in sync. So let's just add this group. So it's based on a two-device approach. So one device is used only for the synchronization, and the second one is the actual oscilloscope. So let's add this rack, which contains both of this. So that's multi-oscillo rack. And as you can see, we have this ping one, which is here, which does seemingly nothing. And the second one is the oscilloscope itself. I've changed a bit the layout of it. So you have 3 tracks, and you will select on the drop-down menu which tracks you want to monitor. So typically here and where you want to position them. So for example, on the top, I want to display my kick. On the bottom, I'm going to display my bass. The middle one is off, so it doesn't show anything. And let's suppress the compensation here so that this value will be updated automatically. And let's press play. So before that, let's have a look at the project. So I have put quite a lot of stuff which causes latency, but it doesn't make any sense in this project, whatever. So here I have a linear phase here, FabFilter Pro Q, which is with a high level of latency, which means if I hover here, you see that it's adding 200 milliseconds of delay. So it's quite a big latency, and that's on the group. And the kick itself has another instance of Pro Q with this time a low latency, and we can have a look at it. It's 69 milliseconds. Same for the bass. The bass has a Pro Q with a huge 1.5 seconds of delay of latency, and etc. On the rest of the channels, I've put randomly instances of Pro Q to simulate various latencies. So if I press play, you can listen that between the time I press play and the first sound, you will have to wait like 2 seconds because of all the added latencies. Let's go. So as you can see, it has quite a low latency. Let's now open the floating window of the oscilloscope, like so. So now you have most of the parameters. You can resize this oscilloscope as it fits. If you want to have bigger loop, you can change the width of the lines. If it for some reason doesn't fit on your screen, you can change the vertical zoom, and you can sync it. Here is by default synced on the quarter, but you can sync it to something else. And you have the same kind of parameters that you have on the main device, except the routing, which needs to be done on the device itself. This sum button, I'm gonna explain this in a bit. So let's just press play and see what it does. So the two tracks are in sync, as you can see. We have the kick here, which is beating, and then we have the bass, and they are roughly synchronized, but they are not on beat. So let's press play just to check that. So that's not good. So I'm gonna press play and press this sync button, which is there and there as well, and you're gonna see what happens. Okay, so now you see that everything has been automatically synced to the beat, notwithstanding the latency, which is added everywhere, which is quite a pretty big achievement for me. This sync button has to be done each time you add or remove a plugin which will cause a change in the overall latency of the project. So here the worst latency is like 2 seconds. So normally, unless I remove this one, I won't have to do it again. But if at some point you see that you have changed something and the latency has changed, then just press sync while playing on the device, and we'll synchronize again. So here we have a classical kick and bass, and we can play on it and working on the synchronization. So I'm happy. I'm seeing both the kick and the bass. What I want to do is have them on top of each other. So I could add a third track, which will be kick and bass here, and put it in the middle. Let's do that. So that kick and bass, and I want it in the center. And let's see what it does. As you see, I've lost synchronization for some reason. So I'm just pressing sync again. And now everything is again in sync. This is because the reason for that is I've added the kick and bass track, which has the same latency as the worst of the kick and the bass, plus something which is on it. So it has another layer of latency. So the 3 tracks have to be resynchronized. So hence the need to resync. But as you can see, we see the kick and the bass on top of each other. But there is an easiest way to do so, which I've added on request of Nivram. So if I get back to my oscilloscope, let's kill that, remove the middle track, and add track 1 and track 3 to what I call the sum. And it means that they will be added on top of each other as if the signal were added and put on the middle of the plugin. Okay, simple as that. So you can resize the device. You need only to resync in case you have an issue, and because you have changed the latency or you have changed the routing, and that's pretty much it. And I hope it's now pretty simple to use and straightforward. You can play with the sync, with the zoom. We can freeze the picture if I want to, and that's pretty much it. So I hope you will like this new version, and that it will help you in your production, especially for those who are struggling with phasing problems with their kick and bass. And feel free to leave a comment on the video, and if you like what I do, please like it and subscribe to my channel. And if you're interested into the device, head to my Gumroad. Thank you for your patience and attention, and see you peeps.